Hey, this is indeed Walt from the Comic Book Men, and you're listening to the iWalter Show.
Walter!
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain, it's a plane, it's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Okay, hey, this is Walter from iWalter. It is Memorial Day weekend. You know what? I am so stupid. I can't remember what day it was.
What are we celebrating on Memorial Day, which is always on the last Monday of May? Go.
Oh, very easily. We celebrate the people that are unemployed and have no work. No, actually, it's for the veterans. And you know what? I actually said like veterinarian today, but I mean,
Where did you say that?
Actually, I was leaving a voicemail for somebody, and I had said that.
Who were you leaving a voicemail for?
I can't confirm or deny it. I can't tell you who it was. It would
be for Todd.
Maybe, actually. By the way, that's Matt Torrence.
Why don't you want to mention who you left a voicemail for?
Because I have too many boyfriends. No, I'm just kidding. I just didn't want to go on a big discussion about it.
No, well, we won't. But so you meant to say Veterans Day, but you said but it's not Veterans Day. It's Memorial Day.
Memorial Day,
but it doesn't celebrate all the veterans. Who does it commemorate or memorialize?
Actually, I'm not sure about that.
Well, think about the verb. To memorialize someone is what?
Good question. Memorialize you. I assume people.
When do you memorialize somebody? Could you memorialize me?
Possibly.
Nope. And why not? And I can't memorialize you, at least not right now.
Because I'm still alive for one day.
Exactly right. Memorial Day is for those who have died in armed combat in service to our country.
Yeah. Memorial Day is a federal holiday in the United States for remembering the people who died, just like Matt mentioned just now,
Thank you.
while serving the country's armed forces. The holiday, which is observed every year on the last Monday of May, originated as a Decoration Day after, and it goes on, and I don't know if I want to open this up, because day after the American Civil War in 1868. So there you go. There's more to read, but I'm not.
There is a Veterans Day, too. I think that's November 11th.
Yeah, there is,
But Memorial Day is strictly those who have died. But anyway, I'm going to stop bogarting all the time, and you continue on, please.
No, I lost. Sorry.
You just turned your microphone off.
I just turned my mic off. I'm a mess when I have guests. I get excited. That's what it is.
Well, you stay on that side of the room, young man.
I'm coming over. I'm going to jump the fence.
All right, I'm out the door. I'll see you.
Uh-oh. Hey, speaking of which, not that you would really care, do you know there's a person down the street in our neighborhood on the right-hand side has a big flag, big banner outside, that is a strong Trump supporter. They have a big Trump flag right at almost like a big banner size of their house.
Cool.
So, yeah, there's definitely some Trump people around here besides myself.
Well, I'm a Trump guy now because I have to be because I got no other choice pretty much. And also, the more that the wackos protest him and seem to think that, well, we have a right to be violent and attack people because Trump is so awful that he's making us do this. The more those wackos show up, that makes me like Trump more.
Yeah.
I was not a fan just in and of itself, but because of circumstances, like I say, what else are you going to do? And because of the wacko protesters, that is endearing him to me. So, I'm in,
Well, I am in too. Now, one thing that actually I got a guy at work, he's on our side. He's conservative.
Okay.
Got him started. Actually, I bought. Now, I don't know if it's going to be the same deal, but I bought this film. I let him watch it at work, which was that movie called 13 Hours, which I got it on Amazon. I can give it to you to watch.
Oh, that's the Benghazi thing.
Yes, exactly. Now, I told him about that, and God, he got worked up because he's one of us. And why he got worked up, it's like, yeah, we got Obama now going over to, was it Japan or China, apologizing for dropping the bomb during.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think we're in what I kind of predicted where we would be. Not that this was any kind of great prediction, but I've been saying since something like 2010 or 2011 or whatever that, when we get to the end of the presidency, people are just, they don't care. They're just waiting for him to go away.
Oh, exactly.
So it almost doesn't do you any good to complain about what he's doing because, like I said, people don't care. Even the people that don't like him, it's almost like it's the same thing with the end of the Clinton administration. It's just like I'm just waiting for him to go away because in the case of the 90s, we were tired of hearing about all these scandals. Not that we didn't think the scandals were real. They were. But it was almost like I just want this guy to go away so I can stop hearing about this. So I think the same thing here. It's almost useless to complain about it. And my attention is more turned toward the voters more than the politicians. But let's get back to this later. I want to ask you, I think, a few things. So I already asked you, you said that one of your shows you're saying, yeah, people are telling me, hey, that guy at the beginning of the show, it doesn't, you sound different. And you're like, well, that's not me. That's, I guess a celebrity promo from Walt Flanagan or whatnot. And you told me that, well, it was one or two people at work that told you that. Okay, now here's another one. If you don't mind me bringing this up, I'm just curious because I'm not there. I can't see what's going on. You said that a couple people at work said to you or to somebody, hey, we're going to go to HR on your behalf because you're being harassed at work. But did you, tell me if I misunderstood this, did you say that the harassment, sounds weird, but happened when you weren't even there? Like you weren't there, but, so my question is, how do you get harassed if you're not there? And I think if I picked it up, it was something like, the people, while you weren't there because you came in like an hour later or a couple minutes later, whenever it was one day last week, they were laughing about, hey, we gave Walt such a hard time that he's not here today. Now, so is that what it was?
Yeah, actually, that is what it was. I heard from two friends. I try to, obviously keep their name out of it because they do listen. Well, one listens in. But, yeah, when I came in, they were conversing back and forth. I was there, but they were conversing back and forth. They said, yeah, because I had taken an hour personal. I was at home on the phone with Mike. Well, not on the phone. I was texting back and forth.
Right. Some like, what do you call it? A help desk where you're texting them. Yeah.
Yeah. And they actually had access to my one of my two computers here.
Well, yeah, that's what I do. I buy that subscription to, I think mine is called Geek Buddy or something like that, where they fix your computer remotely.
Yeah.
And you give them, but here's the thing. I mean, forgive me for, I don't want to be giving you even more of a hard time, but can you really go after somebody for harassing you when you're not there? In other words, aren't you kind of saying, hey, they're saying something about me when I'm not there, I don't like it? I mean, can you really control that?
It's not just that. There's other things that they have observed. Like when I complain about stuff that I observe, I don't do a very good job of explaining what they're doing to me, the people at work.
Yeah, no offense, but I kind of gather that. Like, in other words, if you're going to complain so-and-so did something to me, you got to be able to say what it is. Somebody asks you, okay, what did they do? You can't say, well, I can't really explain. I mean, how can anybody follow up on that? You have to be able to say. Now, I thought...
Well, even if I did, people still, it's like the boy who cried wolf too many times, so they're not going to want to listen to me. So, but by hearing somebody else, a third party seeing what's going on, and they say, hey, I've observed this for a long time, Walter being harassed constantly.
What did they say? Did they go to HR yet? And if so, how did they say it?
I don't think they were. I think that steam power of theirs kind of fizzled out really quick. I don't think.
So they didn't do it anyway. So this is all no good. This is an unsolvable problem. It seems like, because it's like you can't explain what's going on, and they said they were going to. But by the way, are they going to take seriously somebody else going to complain on somebody on your behalf? I mean, is that going to be taken seriously?
Actually, you know what, Matt? Believe it or not, it could be, because there's a third person, a friend that worked at you hung out with too. You know who I mean? The woman we went to the casinos with. Yeah. And she's actually had spoken up to different supervisors and stuff, but she's gotten to the point that she'll say, "Hey, listen, this is what's going on. not only with me, but with that whole situation that I'm trying to figure out how to say it. But I guess partially me and then partially how it put her out of a job in this particular area.
I'm just saying, but would a boss take that serious? Whoever you go to, would they take that seriously? Hey, I want to register a complaint. Oh, what happened? Well, it wasn't for me. It was for somebody else. But wouldn't they say, well, why doesn't he register to complain if it's about him?
Well, actually, if it's just one person, then they listen to it slightly. When I hear two people, it gets more steam power. If you have like 4 people or 5 people, me, this other person that and the 2 friends at work, then that definitely would cause a case. The one friend I'm talking about, the one from the casino, she said she had some problems with people that she worked with, 2 people she dealt with, who actually were not only goofing off, they were falsifying documentation stuff. So what happened was, she said when it was just her talking about it, the one person even tried to get her fired. It backfired. He ended up getting himself fired. But what really was the case was other people stepping up and saying, hey, listen, we knew so-and-so was not involved with falsifying of documentation. She was involved with this other stuff, but she would have been taken down. She would have been fired with these other 2 guys that were actually not doing her job and falsifying stuff, goofing off all the time.
Well, wait, what does the falsification have to do with our friend?
She actually did get, at one point she was close to getting fired, but then they found out, listen. But what happened was other people who backed her up as, what do you call it, character witnesses, actually helped save her job. And it was more than one person. It was actually a lot of people. So the bottom, I hope this answers your question. If you have other people supporting what you're saying as character witnesses,
it's almost like when you go to court, you want to try to establish a pattern of behavior.
Yes.
Where you have all these people saying, like Bill Cosby has 21 women or whoever it is saying, where the stories all seem to match up, and it seems to then lend credibility to the charges. I just I don't know. Again, I'm not there, so I just wish I could get my head around this and figure out what do you think, or what do you want to come of this? I mean, is it because the only thing I was able to tell, well, okay, 2 things I was able to tell, and one of them I don't know what you can do about it, or maybe 2 of them I don't know what you can do about it. There was the one guy you said would wait till you were alone and threaten to get you in trouble if you don't slow down the work rate of work. Which assumingly the only reason you'd be able to get somebody in trouble for that if there was like some safety issue, like he's working so fast that he's putting people in danger, himself or other people. So there's that, and then the question is, well, is that a legitimate concern or is it a lot of bull hockey? And then the second thing is, you were saying something like, well, these people are ostracizing me, and that's a form of harassment too, but can they get in trouble for like not consorting or socializing with you at work?
If they're supposed to and they just ignore you when you ask them stuff, yeah, it could be. I just went by what I looked up what harassment is. The only things you ever pull up are high school kids and kids who got harassed so severely that they end up committing suicide. And in those articles, I did find that, believe it or not, part of it is ostracizing, with the high schools, the kids ostracized.
But I don't know that is going to help you here. In other words, I don't know if you're going to be I'm sure you're not going to go to your boss or whoever you would be going to and saying, hey, these people are ostracizing me. Look at this article in the paper here. Look at these high school kids. One of them killed themselves because of yada, yada, yada. I don't know that's...
I don't bring that stuff up at work.
Okay.
No, that's just from my show. That's not for work. Okay. No, not at all. Actually, it's funny, though, because, again, unfortunately, the friend that I work with now, the woman I work with, I don't want to mention her name. She basically, and now it makes me question it, but she actually got a note on her car. And
from who?
Who she didn't know. I think somebody was just basically, I hate to say it, but I do use profanity, so somebody was fucking with her.
Okay.
But
what did the note say?
Basically, they, because I had notes put up, but the note was put on her car saying, hey, you need to slow down when you're driving through the parking lot. And I've seen her. She doesn't drive fast. They have speed bumps. She can't drive fast, but they were screwing with her. So she said she wrote on the note back. She says, well, you know what? Why don't you meet me after work and I'll talk about it. So, and they took the note off and they just let it go. So,
wait. They put a note on her car that said that she wrote on the note and kept it on her car?
Well, somebody wrote a note to say you need to. I mean, it has nothing to do with the harassment thing. I understand that, but they're
but wrote a note and put it where?
On her windshield, I would assume.
Okay, well, how do you know that they then read it after she wrote on it? Hey, if you want to talk about this, meet me.
Because she told me the note was removed when she got out of work. She worked she's been working a lot of doubles and different areas.
Okay, did you just say a minute ago you had notes left on your car?
Not on my car. Actually, years ago, I had somebody write a note when I was in cleaning years ago, different type of cleaning when I first started this job.
Yeah.
And somebody actually wrote a note and put it in the bathroom that I cleaned and said, you need to clean these mirrors or clean better or something like that.
Well, do we even know that how do we know?
It's a different person.
I know, but do we even know that the person knew who you were?
Yeah, no, it was definitely directed towards me because I found out who wrote the note, and I confronted him. This was
you did. How'd you find out who wrote the note?
It was pretty obvious because at that time,
why is it obvious?
Because there's only like 2 or 3 people that I work with in different areas in the same building, and it was easy to figure out.
So whoever you had a hunch it was, you talked to him and he said, "Yeah, I did write it."
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
pretty much. He said, "Yeah, I did write the note."
I mean, this is like probably 8 years ago.
Hey,
no, I did get it, and trust me, my dad still worked there, and he confronted him too.
Did he admit? Did he admit? Yes, I did write the note.
Yes, he did.
Okay, then just say that. Not. Well, this is 8 years ago, or he did this to my dad too, and yada yada yada. Just
no, he didn't do it to my dad. My dad also told him, like, listen, we're going to go to HR about this or whatever.
Okay.
The union.
Focus. So the guy that you thought did it. He admitted it.
Of course.
Okay. All right. Well, that's not pretty much. That's yes, he admitted it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not important. I'm just saying that.
Well, no,
it's just what people do at that job.
Right, but what I was trying to establish was, were you right about who you?
Oh, absolutely.
No, yes, I know that now because you told me that the guy admitted it. So now I know that he actually did. So, well, what do you want to have happen here? I don't understand.
I honestly, the only reason I brought it up on that one show was because for once, like, I'm not the one saying I'm going to pursue this with HR. They said they were going to do it. These 2 people, these 2 individuals, 2 friends at work. So it was something I didn't bring up that I'm going to take to HR. They said they were. It was like, okay, hey, this is great. Somebody actually is observing what I complain about that I just gave
listen,
up on.
I don't know that. I mean, I don't disbelieve you on any of this stuff. I mean, I don't think. But well, sometimes I wonder if if it's a little bit, maybe just blown up a little bit, like, not made up out of whole cloth, but like maybe a little bit too much, or just there's different ways that people would have to react to things. Like, for example, I wasn't there because I didn't go into the bathroom with you, but when we went to that one restaurant up there, I think it was the place up there, Champs.
Yeah.
And you went into the bathroom and some guy was, like, you said, wigging out and talking to himself and almost being violent. You're like, oh my God, literally, this was the craziest thing. And I was so scared for myself and all this stuff. And I didn't see it, so maybe it was. But I've been in situations like that before. And you can either react to it by looking like, what the heck is going on over there? Or you can, like, wig out and make a big issue out of it. Neither one is right or wrong. But I'm just saying that I wonder if well, maybe more, 2 different people can react to the same thing in 2 different ways. You'll have your way to react to it. Somebody else would react to it a different way, maybe not feeding into it. You know what I mean? Like, I think, because you've said this about yourself, and this goes back to us talking from the Monco days, which is like when somebody is giving you a hard time or there's some situation that's less than ideal or it's a little bit of a pain in the behind, it's like you said, and you admitted, I feed into it. So, I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to ask here, except that I just, without being there, without seeing it, I mean, do you think maybe depending on how bad it is, you sure it's some of this stuff isn't something that you could just kind of let roll off you a little bit more? You know what I mean? Like if somebody, like for example, if I was going over to the hair place to get my head zapped with a laser helmet, and the woman working there is short and rude and curt and dismissive of me and treats me like I'm not even there, I can either react to it and make a big deal out of it, or I can go, what's her problem? All right, forget her. You see what I'm saying here, kind of?
Yeah, well, that case, I took care of the problem. I just basically stopped going there.
That's not the issue. What I'm asking is, does it also depend, remember, I mean, you like Viktor Frankl, and the point of his book was you can't control anything except how you react to something.
Yeah.
So, if the girl at the laser helmet place, and I don't care that you don't go there anymore, that's not the point, was not nice to you, or any of these other people, or the girl at Wawa, or whoever it was, is it maybe just basically it's up to you to go, oh, what's that person's problem? All right, we'll forget them, rather than kind of, I don't say whining about it, but turning it into a bit more of a federal case.
No, I mean, actually, I thought I learned that from you. Like, I thought, like, if somebody bothers you enough, it's like you just kind of write them off. So that's where I kind of picked up on.
Well, yeah, especially somebody that you don't know.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if, like, somebody that you knew you were having an issue with, but if it's a cashier at Wawa or the appointment setter at the laser hair helmet place, I don't know. Or if you want, you can kind of do it back to them a little bit, or there's ways to kind of psychologically mess with them or verbally mess with them. So there's that too. What are you looking at?
I'm just putting stuff on the side just in case, because I got.
Okay, well, so I don't know. So that I don't know what. Like I said, I'm not there. I'm just trying to keep an eye on the clock here to see it. I just don't. And and it's hard too. I realize it, being at work. You're there 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. It's a long time to be there. It's not easy to just let everything roll off your back, just because of the simple fact that you are there so much. It'd be one thing if you were there like 2 hours a week, but being there 40 hours a week is harder. I'm just saying, I remember you once said that you like Les Brown, the motivational speaker. Well, I didn't see a lot of Les Brown, but the one time I saw him give a talk, I guess PBS, something like that, he was like, man, nobody wants to hear about what somebody did to you. The only thing that matters is what are you going to do about it. So, this complaining about what they did to me and yada, 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 I mean, we all like to do that a little bit, but it just seems like overdoing it with that is, I think Stephen Fry said that self-pity is like pretty much the most unattractive quality. And what's kind of ironic is if you stop feeling sorry for yourself, that's when other people will feel sorry for you, when you stop feeling sorry for yourself. So I don't know how much you can really hear me right now because you're concentrating on whatever you're surfing around for. But
actually, I hear you.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I mean, the stuff I talk about, it's just for entertainment reasons, so... And just a vent.
Well, wait a minute, though. But when I listen to it, it sounds like you're serious about it.
Well, you have to make it sound convincible, don't you?
Make it sound convincible. Well, no, when I hear you complain about people at work, it sounds like it really is bugging you. Are you saying that it doesn't really bug you, you're just pretending it does to have something to talk about on the podcast?
Well, I mean, if you go to a doctor or something like that, a psychiatrist, what do you go there? You go there to vent yourself. So this is my way of venting myself, is on my show.
Well, I think but you don't just go to an event, do you? Don't you want to also eventually solve the problem?
Yeah, but how do you do it? You talk through it. You talk about it.
Is this going to solve the problem?
Actually, it does. I feel much better after I do my podcast. Depending, if I have nothing to talk about, then I don't talk about it.
Well, okay, so yeah, that's venting. But is doing this going to solve the problem at work?
It just blows the steam off. I'm not.
No, but you're not answering. Is it going to solve the problem at work?
Yeah, actually, it is.
Really? Whatever you're complaining about at work is getting solved by you talking about it here.
Well, is it better for me to go to work and blow up and smash things at work, or should I talk about it and blow the steam off?
Yes, you're right. But whatever the issue is at work, I don't see how venting, even though it makes you feel better. But the problem, the work problem, is not going to be solved. That's just going to keep on going. And tell me if I'm wrong. Is it going to stop?
I think eventually it is. There's going to be definitely changes at work. That's the truth. I mean,
coming from where? Why are there going to be changes at work?
Like every other company, what are they doing? Companies like I work at, they downsize. They move things down.
So wait a second. So whoever is harassing you at work, you're waiting for them to be downsized.
Oh, it probably will happen. It's without a doubt. Yeah, that's just a fact. I mean,
really, when's it going to happen?
Probably in the next couple weeks, month.
Really?
Yeah, we have a shutdown in at where I work in
So
June.
whoever is harassing you at work or ostracizing you, you think in the next couple of weeks or months they'll be gone from the company?
Well, they're starting to sweat. They're either be.
You're not answering the question. Yes or no? Are they going to be gone?
They could be gone from where I'm working and moved to elsewhere on plant site, or yeah, they could be asked to be removed. Yes.
Okay. So,
I mean, people are sweating right now. They're wondering why they're letting people. Why the amount of help has been cut back tremendously, and the company's
I'm going to check
hired.
back with you. I'm going to check back in with you at the end of the summer, and I'm going to ask you if whoever was giving you a hard time, whoever the other people at work were threatening to take to HR and complain about, I want to ask you if they're out of your life.
They could be. I mean, I can't say for sure, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of changes.
But that sounds to me like you're just waiting for some unknowable thing to happen. Like, gee, I hope that they get fired, or I hope they get moved to a different building. But surely you wouldn't think that you talking about it here is going to help that to happen. That doesn't have any effect on it.
Well, not talking about it and holding it in is not going to help me either.
Two different things.
Yes.
The talking about it is the venting to make you feel better.
Yes.
I'm talking about the people at work, whatever their issue is with them. I'm sure you would agree that doing a podcast is not going to solve that.
Yeah, but I mean,
No, please don't say again. Yeah, but it'll make me feel better. Yes, I know, but
No,
that's
I'm
over
not
here.
gonna say that.
I'm asking about the other thing over here.
I've done everything to take it into the company, to our union. I've actually taken it to the government before in the past. So I've actually wrote, what do you call it? Not the Better Business Bureau, the other thing.
The other thing.
Yeah, there's other divisions for you can write the government, which actually the company was forced to talk to me in HR then because they got a thing from, I can't remember, Matt. I remember I wrote a letter and it got back and my company asked me, hey, we got this note that you were complaining about us and we need to solve this problem because it's over our head right now. And they said, we have to listen. We have no choice. Otherwise, they're going to have a hefty fine or, get in a lot of trouble. So
So did that problem get solved?
It got solved until that they got the government off their back, and then they went back to just doing the same thing again. So it was basically pointless.
So it didn't get solved?
No. It did for a little bit. They actually asked me whatever division of the government I want to, not the Better Business Bureau. It's like OSHA.
That has nothing to do with the government, I don't think.
I don't know. It was like OSHA or something like that. I don't remember. But I just remember I looked it up. The company asked me, okay, we need to get this resolved. And they asked me, can you please call them or write them back and tell them that we resolved the issues. Otherwise, it would have been held over their head.
Right.
They were petrified of me.
Right. But, so you did...
Okay, sorry about that, folks. Some reason it stopped recording. I have no clue why. It never did that. I must have accidentally hit a button. So we are back live. Well, so to speak, live. It's recording.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out to what extent... See, I got the impression that this is really important. Like you were saying, you're talking about, well, this ostracization, or however you pronounce it, is also harassment. And, this is cause people to kill themselves. And then you're saying, well, it's not really that important. I'm just, I have to make it convincible for the podcast. So...
Well, Mo, if you heard my last couple podcasts, which I assume you did, I kind of mentioned this very lightly about these stories. Even the people at work. Most of my stories I'm looking at them right now were...
Well, I've heard also other podcasts a little bit older than the last couple, and you made it sound like, this was almost like a nightmarish, hellish scenario that you have to go into every day. So I'm trying to figure out how bad it is.
No, because actually in my last couple I'm looking at one was on Ann Coulter. I did one on...
this is going back farther than just...
See, that's the thing. I mean, that stuff is the way I felt, but lately it's just been on movies and TV shows, and add in very light thing of work.
Well, has something changed at work? Has it gotten better in the last couple of days?
Yeah, I got that one when I came back to work, and she's been, sticking up for me in many ways. But no, I mean, it's about movies, TV shows.
Okay, not answering the question. So, okay, so it's better then. Maybe some things have gotten worked out and solved.
I guess you can put it that way. I mean, I'm just saying though.
Has it been solved? Is it solved, or is it better just because some other people notice what you putting up with stuff at work and them saying, "Hey, we're going to go to HR about what you have to go through"? Is that
actually? I did say that in one of the podcasts.
Yeah, no, I know that you said it. Is that why it's better at work?
Yes.
Okay. But then again, they didn't actually go to HR. They just said they were going to. So that even just saying that they were going to do it helped.
Yeah, believe it or not, yes, it does help when you have somebody who actually that you're not.
So it sounds like what you just want. You want somebody just to sort of witness and validate your suffering, or whatever you want to call it, and kind of be on your side, which is, yeah, I agree with you. So more than anything, it's almost like that's the solution, not getting Scott or whatever his name was, or Sam, to stop. When nobody else is around, saying, "Hey, Walter, I'm going to get you in trouble if you don't slow down," or any of this other stuff, or these people saying when you're not there, "Ha ha ha, we got Walter to take a day off from work because whatever we did to him." So it's almost like that. It's not that. It's just you want somebody just to go, "Yeah, Walter, I agree with you. You really have to put up with a lot of stuff." See, to me, I guess that's the difference between you and me. If I would want the problem to be fixed, not just for somebody to go, to sympathize with me. That doesn't. It's nice, but that's Bill Clinton's "I feel your pain." What are you going to do with that? That doesn't help at all. But it seems like that's your thing that you want, is just somebody to sympathize with you or empathize with you, rather than necessarily solve the problem. It almost reminds me of what they say about like the difference between men and women, where men are always trying to solve the problem, but with women, when they complain about stuff, they don't necessarily want to solve the problem. They just want somebody to sympathize with them. So that's what I'm getting from you here.
I guess. I mean, I like to have the problem solved, but that was the part that did not get recorded. That was the part where I must have hit stop or something. But I did say, yeah, I did try to solve the problem. It just never got resolved. I mean, taking it to different agencies or whatever you call it, and them looking into it because they have to, and getting back to my company, and the company having be forced to make changes or listen to me and make changes.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think, and I'm just supposing this here, do you think that what they really think about you, they can't say this, but that what they really think about you is that you're maybe kind of a crybaby, and, they'll go along and seem like they're taking your complaint seriously, but what they really think deep down is, "Oh, this guy's such a crybaby. He's just looking for something to complain about. So we'll placate him. We'll make it sound like we're going to do whatever we have to do to address the problem. But really, there's no pleasing this guy. He's a crybaby."
I don't know, Matt. I really couldn't tell you.
Well, I know you couldn't. You're right. You couldn't tell me because you can't read their mind. But I'm just wondering if.
All I was saying in short brief was that it always sounds like it comes back that it's got to be something with me, that it can't be possibly anybody else. The world circles around me making all these problems.
Well, no. Listen, I believe you when you say that people are being jerks to you and stuff like that. And I definitely can see that, because I think that people tend to take advantage of somebody who's sort of, the word would be guileless, who almost doesn't have defenses up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is you. And unfortunately, most people are not sympathetic or compassionate, and maybe that's me included, to people who are guileless, who don't have, who wear their heart on their sleeve, who don't have a thick skin like you. That's all you. So, God bless you, or I feel bad for you, because a person like that just gets chewed up. So it's not that it's your fault. I'm not saying. See, I think you misinterpret that. I think that, oh, well, you're doing it, it's your fault. No, it's they're doing it. But one of the things you could do is if somebody is treating you a certain way, well, then you do it back to them, or you write them off. Or I always say, if you're going to be that way, then heck, I don't know you exist. To the extent that you can. I know it's a little bit harder to do if there's somebody you're supposed to be working with. It's not always so easy. But
actually, that's what I said I did do, though. I do write these people off, and yet they still attack me behind my back. But that's where I told
Yeah, but you can't control. You're not. You can't tell them you're not allowed to say something about me behind my back.
No, I don't. I don't care. I don't hear it. I mentioned this before.
Well, you said you don't care, but you just were complaining about it just now that I write them off, but they still do it. So who cares?
No, what happened was I said on the show they talked behind my back,
Okay.
but they don't. I don't go back to them and yell at them. There was a guy that actually, when I was out for 6 months, he was telling me how I did nothing. I made everybody else's life really hard. I was like, who cares?
Okay, good.
I literally did that. And when that person talked behind my back, it was like, wow. I wasn't the one getting really upset. It was my friend from work. She got really defensive. She said, listen, you don't make fun of somebody and you don't find it humorous when you actually send somebody out on sick leave because you get enjoyment out of it.
Oh, absolutely. That's extremely cruel. And
yeah. Now, I didn't say that, Matt. That's what she said, my friend. She stuck up for
she's
me.
right.
Yeah.
She's right. Well, whether you're saying it or she's saying it, I agree.
That's all I was saying on the show.
I'm just trying to figure out to what extent this bothers you. Because on the one hand, you're saying, well, it's just for the podcast.
It is.
So it really doesn't bother you then?
Actually, that thing did not bother me because
I'm just talking about all this stuff in general, like complaining about work.
No, actually, certain things do bother me a lot. But like I said, there was a person who got upset when they heard me, quote unquote, talk behind her back, and they confronted me. So guess what I did? I just ignore them now.
Okay.
I just pretend like they're talk to me, but I just keep it very short and I walk away. Which is exactly what you said you do. If somebody bothers you and they
like I
write
say,
them off.
you can't. The only thing you can control is how you react to something. You can't. You're not going to be able to say you're not allowed to talk about me when I'm not here. Really? You're gonna? And what are you going to?
I didn't say that.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that. Yes, I know you didn't say that, but
I didn't even insinuate it either.
Okay, but you realize though that you can't. And I know it wasn't you, but it was other people who said it. But you can't. They can't be taken to HR because they said something about you when you weren't around.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying there was other things they've noticed. The one person that works at where I work, he got so pissed off. He says, and this woman, they got so pissed off. They said, this is ridiculous because they're close to, if they do a layoff or if they eliminate people, they're going to be back out the door. Or one's going to be out the door again. Another one.
I'm not following what you're talking about here.
These people are upset when they have people that are harassing me or not doing their job or just goofing off, just doing whatever they want to do, like finding the broom closet to sleep in or sleep in the shower or goofing off or taking off a plant site and driving around town for hours. That pisses them off in addition to what's going on with me because if this is true and my theory is right and they're going to be cutting back on employment at where I work and sending it down south, those people are going to be out the door.
They have less seniority.
They have less seniority. So they're going to look for reasons, and they are both people. The one I work with is an excellent worker. Bottom line is they're upset what's happening to me. They don't think it's right. But two, they're going to try to, which is human nature, going to try to do anything to save your job. If you got somebody who sits there, has more time than you, and they're goofing off, playing around, harassing people. Okay, that stopped for a second. It's okay. Harassing people, and your job's on the line that you're going to be out the door, yet that person that you look at every day just goofing off and acting like they're in high school, you're going to make sure you're going to get this reported to keep your job more secure. Not me. I have 14 years there. I don't have any problem. But my two friends have a lot of issues that they could be close to being
but wait a second.
out of a job.
But
which I understand. Hey, I'd be the same freaking way.
Yeah, I'm just trying to follow here, though. So the people that were sticking up for you or saying that they were going to get HR on your behalf for these other people, but do they have any standing? Like, is there any reason they would be listened to more Is the boss going to sit up and take notice when they're complaining about these people and go, oh, what's that? Okay, I'm going to look into it, and these people are going to be out the door.
You don't have to go. You don't go to the boss because the boss will just cover up. Depending on the boss, they'll cover up for certain people who they don't want to be bothered. If you have somebody who sits around for 8 or 16 hours doing absolutely nothing, they don't want to hear about it. They're just looked the other way because they're afraid. I hate to tell you this, but they're afraid it'll be a discrimination charge, a sexual harassment charge, because we have all these things we have to go through. So they just literally turn the other cheek.
So if the boss tried to say to somebody, hey, you were caught a couple times napping for 5 hours, then that person will go, oh, you can't say anything because I'm a woman. That's sexual harassment or something like that.
Yes.
Really? It's that?
Oh, yeah. We have enough things, and it will. And plus, you're a union. So the union will back up that person, too. So it's not right, but it's just the way it's a fact. I mean, I'm not making that up, not even remotely. I'm not even sugarcoating it. It's the truth.
Okay.
I've heard that from friends before. They said, yeah, there was people that I've worked with that, that they literally worked 16 hours. I had one guy, he says, I don't want to say this in front of the union. Some guy you don't even know who he is. None of them you do. And he says, well, because he's like us. He's a conservative thinking person. He says, yeah, I've seen people who worked doubles and stuff, 16 hours, and they're totally useless. Not only do they don't do anything on their normal shift, they don't do anything after 16 hours.
Okay. But again, you don't really care about this. This doesn't really frost you because you're just talking about it now because it's for the podcast. But you don't. The fact that they're sleeping at work, working doubles but not really working, getting all this overtime but not actually doing anything, that doesn't really bother you.
Honestly,
I'm just trying to figure it out.
I wouldn't have time to do podcasts if I worked the amount of hours they work. Well, to work the amount of hours they do. Does it piss me off? In some ways it does, because there's enough people out there that are on the streets right now that are looking for work. I'd rather have somebody who will come to work, like the friend I work with, who they said, oh, I tried one time. The one friend I work with, she said, oh, yeah, I came to work. I try to do the same thing that other people do and just sit there and do nothing and just say, quote unquote, fuck it, because that's what other people say. They say, oh, just fuck it. I'm not going to do anything. I don't feel like working today. And they're not going to get in trouble for it.
But wait a second. I'm still trying to figure out here. It does or doesn't bother you?
From a personal stance, nothing to do with me. A personal stance outside of work as an onlooker. Yeah, it bothers me that way. Does it bother me on the productivity of how it's making me have more work? Not as much, unless it is giving me more work to do.
Okay, because now it sounds like it is bothering you, whereas a little bit ago it doesn't really. You're only doing it for the podcast.
If I read an article in the newspaper and they say, okay, there's 92% of the nation just sponging off the government, do I look at it? Well, I take that personally. Well, I take it personally. It's coming out of my pocket. But I'm taking it from that stance, even for my job. I'm taking it from, like, if I've read a newspaper article about the same situation. That, how does it make you feel when you read this so-and-so, or you hear about this? So, and, it's just another thing that, yes, I do it for my podcast. Yes, I do. But also...
but I think before there was such a thing as a podcast, and I think the reason you're a Republican is I think it's mostly because of the welfare state-ism. So it does bother you. So this isn't for a podcast necessarily. This goes back to 1990, whenever it was, that we first talked about this.
Yeah. I mean, there's personal issues, but I think you're thinking personal issues. Does it affect where I'm at work?
No, I didn't say that. Because, see, I'm trying to nail you down on something, and you're saying, well, it's not really important. I'm just doing it for the podcast. But then I'm saying, well, I don't know about that because I listened to you say it, and I don't think you're just, like, making it up.
No. I mean, I got to pull sources from somewhere. I could actually – here's the thing that's interesting.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. If I listen to somebody's podcast and all they talked about was, like, entertainment or movies, or they talked about maybe they have an My Little Pony podcast, then I would be – I think reasonable to assume that what they care about is what they're talking about. So if I'm hearing you, amongst other things, but a large component of it is complaining about people at work, am I wrong to assume that it's something that bothers you and that you care about?
I don't know how to answer that, honestly. I could show you some newspaper clippings. I'm going to use the quotation marks so you know my one hand has my mic, where people actually complain about similar things that bother them, like the way I complain about work.
By the way, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be bothered by this stuff. I'm not saying that you should just let it go. This isn't something you should. Now, what I would say you shouldn't be bothered as much about is when you read about some couple in New Mexico who is drunk and lets their teenager drive them home. I mean, yeah, that's bad, but
that's to fill up time on my show, honestly.
Yeah, but do you remember what you said after you did that story back in July of last year? You said, well, nothing's going to happen to them because it's not me. If it was me, then they would go after me, but since it's not me, nothing's going to happen to them.
Yeah, you know what, Matt? There's stuff I say, but it comes literally off the id, because I'll tell you that. Like, I said, okay, I'm going to fix my Mac computer, which I meant my PC computer. I mean, that's
not the same thing.
It is kind of, but that's different.
So wait a second. So when you said that about the couple in Texas or New Mexico about how they were drunk and they were really irresponsible, they let their 13-year-old drive them home because they were passed out in the back seat, and you said, well, they'll get away with it. Nothing's going to happen to them because it's not me. If it were me, then they come after you. So that's the same as accidentally saying Mac instead of PC? Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not even. I'm not buying that for a second.
Okay, you don't have to. That's fine with me. Let me read some of these stories because I'm the only one who seems to everything means so much to you. Now, this is a newspaper article.
I don't know about that.
This is a newspaper.
I do the same thing with anybody I'm talking to when I sense some kind of inconsistency in what they're saying.
Honestly, I just say things, and then they said, you heard you just said, and I said, no, I don't remember. Now when I do these podcasts...
So I shouldn't take you that seriously then. It should just
probably
be,
not.
He's just talking...
Actually, yes, because there's stuff I said, and I don't remember I said it, and then I listened back to it. I was like, wow, did I just say that? And I don't remember saying
So
it.
Then actually, it's kind of my fault. I shouldn't be taking you this seriously.
You know what? Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know.
Message received. Yes. You're not to be taken seriously.
I shouldn't be taken seriously.
Okay. You just said that you should not be taken seriously.
It's recorded too, so.
Okay. Good.
Okay. I mean, here's some stories.
It doesn't matter because it's not really what we're talking about, but I don't know what's going to prove, but okay.
Well, these are people who just complain about what bothers them. Well, here's somebody who wrote something and put it in the newspaper. Yes, justice is blind. Obama Department of Justice, whether under Eric Holder or Loretta Lynch, was deaf, dumb, and blind. These are just people, they just gripe what they think about. All I hear from the liberal, this is another article, all I hear from the liberal TV shows such as CNN and MSNBC is that Donald Trump is not a Republican or a conservative. That must make him a Democrat. Why are they afraid of him if he is considered a Democrat? I would vote for a Democrat like Donald Trump before I would vote for a crooked liberal Hillary Clinton. Make America great again, Trump. Now, these are people who just bitch and complain whatever they want to talk about.
Well, I don't understand. What does this mean? What's the point? You're gonna have to help me. I'm not following.
That the stories I read about, I just pull them up randomly and I talk about them, but I don't take them. It's just me to just relieve my stress, my tension, whatever. But people write anything. I mean, they talk about people being on welfare, how it bothers them. It's coming out of my paycheck, about other stuff. But I don't go up to them. I don't even know who.
How would you?
I wouldn't.
You couldn't.
People know me, so they do come up to me.
Well, isn't that how it works? If there's somebody that you know in real life, aren't you more likely to ask them stuff and maybe challenge them or confront them about stuff than somebody that you have never met and you never will meet? And the closest you'll ever get to them is to write an email to their email at the bottom of their article.
This is actually physical newspaper clippings. This is put in the newspaper. It's a great page. It's a paper. You write in whatever you want.
Okay, but I'm still not following what the point is here because remember, I'm trying to figure out.
There's nothing to figure out. That's the problem.
Well, no, there is. What there is to figure. See, I don't think you don't like that I'm sort of questioning where you're coming from, and are you really taking this seriously, or you're not? And what you're trying to do is you're trying to skirt me by saying, "Well, is it that important? Why is it that important?" Well, maybe it's not. It's not that important in the grand scheme of things. But I'm just trying to figure out, amongst other things, okay, is this something that really does frost you, the way people behave at work, whether they be harassing you or not doing what they should be doing, or is it not that important? And because when I listen to your podcast, and I do, it sounds like some of this stuff is bothering you. I mean, are you going to now say that you don't really get bothered at the female teachers who molest their male students? Because it sounded like you got bothered by that. Is that just for the podcast and you don't really care?
I get bothered the same way like I read these newspaper clippings like this one here that says...
But that's, no, I'm just, yes or no. Does it bother you or doesn't it?
It bothers me like it would bother anybody else, which it does bother people.
Does it?
Yes.
Is Todd bothered about women, the female teachers who molest their male students?
Believe it or not, yes.
Really?
Yeah.
He's bothered by that?
Sure.
Oh.
Yes.
Because I thought he usually made a joke out of it by saying, hey, she's hot. I wish she did that to me.
Well, here's a newspaper. I know you don't want to hear it. The title is, you can see it yourself, Mom Sues District Stop Transgender Bathrooms. Right in the newspaper.
You think you're proving something to me by doing this, but I don't know what you're proving to me. I'm asking about you.
I'm saying that I am reacting to these situations the exact same way everybody else is. Well, I'm not putting it in the newspaper. I'm putting it on the radio show, well, if you want to call it that. But the same exact way.
Well, wait. Are you saying that you think that I'm saying, because I'm not saying this, that, oh, Walter, nobody else in the world cares about this except you?
I'm just saying this is the way I vent. I could write to a newspaper, which apparently right now there's been an issue. People can't properly spell things when they write it in the paper. So I know I couldn't. So this is the way I voice my opinion, taking... I understand that, but I'm just trying to figure out to what degree you do care about this. I can't get is it, obviously it's not to such a degree that it's keeping you from getting out of bed in the morning and going to work. It's not bothering you that much, but it's bothering you enough that when I hear you talking about it, like when you do these stories on the podcast, you don't talk about this stuff in like kind of an offhanded, matter-of-fact manner. You seem irked by it. Oh, I am irked, but I mean, this is the way I...
Okay, so you are irked by this stuff. It's not that you're only doing, I don't really care, so you do, which is my suspicion. I suspected that you are irked by female teachers molesting their male students. But by the way, the reason that you're irked for that is kind of what I think is the reason. You never admitted this, but I suspected the reason is, and actually you said it on one of your podcasts. This is going back months and months and months ago. I know you're going to say, well, I don't remember that. Okay. But whether you remember saying it or not, you said it, and people let the truth come out unless they're intentionally trying to deceive or mislead. But I think you let the truth come out. You said something like, these women that, molest these boys, they just get off the hook. And, I'd like to meet, a girl. I go to, and then this is a weird thing you said. You were like, I go to these, those RuPaul type of things where there's this female impersonators and I don't know what women you think you're going to meet there. But anyway, you're right. There is a double standard. But maybe there's a reason there's a double standard, because men and women are not the same. Not to say that I think that it should be legal for 21-year-old women to have sex with 14-year-old boys. I'm not saying that. But, men and women are not the same, and I don't know that it would affect a man, a boy, as quite as badly as it would a woman. Maybe it would in some cases. I guess it depends on the person. But the reason that the double standard is wrong isn't because you and I can't get a girlfriend. That's, what I'm saying? That's not the reason.
Oh, I know that for a fact.
Okay.
I'm just saying that the justice should be served equally on both sides.
Right, but you can't get more angry about it because you don't have a girlfriend.
That has nothing to do with it.
Exactly. It has
nothing to do with it.
Right.
I didn't even ever say it did either.
Well, you did, because you said that, and I'll have to go back and find the podcast, and now there's a lot of them.
I think I know what you're talking about. It's been over a year. You're saying that, okay, why didn't these women hit on me instead of 14-year-olds? I did say that, but that's totally different.
Is it?
Yes.
Isn't it exactly what I said, which was the reason that the double standard is wrong and that justice should be meted out equally is not because you don't have a girlfriend. But then you just said, unless you were just joking and not serious about it, but you just said, well, they should be hitting on me, not these 14-year-old boys.
The issue is it's wrong if a guy hit on a 14-year-old girl, no doubt about it. It was, okay, why isn't that guy hitting on somebody his own age? That would be the open and shut case. I am saying the reverse of what I just said. Why doesn't a woman look for a guy her age is what I'm trying to state. I use myself. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Well, you clouded it a little bit, made it a little bit more hard for me to follow by saying because of why isn't she hitting on me? Because that makes it sound like basically, listen, you know how things are. The reason why people get irked at stuff, unfortunately, is usually not because of high-minded idealism. It's because of, well, what about me? It's not fair. You know?
I don't mean that at all. I just mean it's not right. Now, I don't know. Here's an example I just read the other day, and this is where, again, it's a double standard, yes. There's a guy I used to listen to or watch on that show, Glee. Now, he has a track record, I guess. He just like Jared, he got hit for child pornography. He's going to, now he had no sex with underage kids. The guy's a good-looking guy, I tell you. The guy was a really good-looking guy. He had an excellent voice.
Off topic.
Yeah, no. Guess what he's going to get? 60 years in prison. 60 years. Not for a sexually assaulting a woman. Now, if a woman sexually assaults a man, she's going to get like a slap on the wrist and a fine for $10,000. This guy, for looking at child porn, having it in his possession 3 times on his computer, he's going to get 60 years in jail.
Well,
now,
I hope you're not trying to diminish the seriousness of child pornography.
I am not diminishing the seriousness, but people in our society are. If it's a woman, well, she's feeble, she doesn't know better, and it's not really affecting the boy. I think it is. That's my opinion. I think that what you give to the left, you should give to the right. If it's a woman doing the same offense as a man, you don't underscore the woman's offense if it's the exact same way.
Like, here's my point, and you're trying to steer away from it. My real interest in this is trying to determine to what
it has nothing to do with me
degree this stuff really does bother you, and does it bother you for the right reasons? That is to say, it's not fair. Justice should be blind, should be equitable, or is it? Well, you know, it's because. But see, here's the thing: you're saying, "Oh, it has nothing to do with me." But when so many times when I would hear you do these stories of like people behaving badly, you would say, "Oh, well, they're going to get off the hook because it's not me. If it were me, then they would go after me. But since it's not me, then so how isn't that kind of relating everything to you? If you're saying that, well, they'll get off the hook because they're not me, but if it was me, boy, they'd get me."
It would be the case, because I've actually mentioned this to people at work. I said, if the same situation, same scenario, not with sex, happened at work where these people get off with stuff, the people I talk to say, yeah, we would not get away with the same stuff that so-and-so is getting away with at work. So in that perspective, and sometimes you wonder why I do these stories on sexual assault or anything like that. Have I been a victim of that? Yeah, actually I kind of was. Because you remember that one job I had, did I tell you or did I not tell you? The woman that I worked at Intel for said that, hey, I got all these good-looking people. She took them out 3 times to restaurants. She asked me to sit right next to her. Why am I not sitting next to her?
I'm sorry. So what was the worst thing that happened in that situation?
I turned her down.
No. What's the worst thing that happened to you? She asked you to sit next to her?
Yeah. There's other situations I probably...
Well, then give me the worst thing that happened. Because sexual assault is... You know what sexual assault is. Her asking you to sit next to her is not sexual assault.
She was making advances at me. And one time when I lived in my apartment years ago, I had somebody made a sexual...
But we're talking about this... We'll get to that in a second. We'll talk about this thing first. What was the advances other than... Which isn't much of an advance. Do you want to sit next to me?
There was other such... I'm just using it as an example.
But you can't. But I asked you what did she do, and you said, "Well, there's other stuff." Okay, what? Tell me.
Okay, if I was a man in her position, that I was a what do you call it?
No, but you're not answering the question. I'm asking you, what did she do to you other than say, "Hey, I got all these good-looking guys around me. Hey, do you want to sit next to me at this restaurant or whatever?" What other than that did she do?
She paid for meals for me.
Oh my God, you poor victim. See, this is why I wonder if sometimes, and I wonder this too, is he just a crybaby about this? I mean, really? I was a victim of sexual assault. She paid for my dinner. She asked me to sit next to her. I mean, come on, man. You're going to have to get a little bit.
Guess what? My one friend, Todd actually before, he took a girl out to eat or something like that. Guess what got him? Fired.
But I'm still trying to find out what
did he do wrong? What did he do wrong?
I don't know. I don't know the situation. I'm just trying to find out, what did she do to you that says you were a victim of sexual assault? Besides pay for the meal and ask you sit next to me.
There was other situations. I'm just saying, if the same scenario happened...
Okay, so you can't answer the question. Okay, I guess we'll move on from this.
But Matt, you're actually answering your own question, because, okay, I just told you, Todd just didn't do anything. He took a girl out, took her to a bar. They end up saying it was sexual harassment. 3 women or 4 women ganged up against him. Guess what he got? He got fucking fired.
Okay.
But that's different, though, because that's a woman. She was feeble. He was strong, dominant male.
But what did he do? What did they say he did?
he made sexual advances, which he didn't, and that he tried to sexually assault her or something like that. He got fired for it.
Okay, but I'm just trying to find out what he did or what they said he did, whether he did it or not.
He might have told me. I can't remember. But all it came down, I said, Todd, you have a case against this woman who got you fired. And he says, no, I'm not going to push it, whatever like that. I should have. And they said
well,
to him,
it's very possible that he was, in fact, it sounds like he was probably wrongfully terminated. But even if that's true,
yeah,
that doesn't make you a victim of sexual assault because of what you told me she did.
Well, you're technically, according to what Todd found out with his situation, if you're a higher person in, a higher authority, you're not allowed to intermingle or, make a type, even a dinner arrangement would be considered a wrongdoing. And that's what got him fired. But there is a double standard there. That would be considered, he lost his job for sexual assault.
Yeah, but yes, there's a double standard, but that's not what I'm not arguing that there isn't a double standard, or I'm not even arguing that there should be a double standard or that it's okay, not so much. I mean, that's a side issue. I'm just curious how objective you are with what you're talking about here. That is to say, if there's a double standard, is it wrong just because it's a double standard, or is it more wrong because I feel like a victim? Remember, you spend a lot of your time on your podcast talking about how everybody thinks they're a victim and stuff like that, but then you kind of sound like you're doing the same thing, too, by saying stuff like, oh, if it were me, they would get me, but everybody else gets away with it.
I just questioned the one time when I had a friend actually sexually grab me.
Who was that?
I'd rather not mention. This was when I lived in my apartment. That's a different story. I have no clue what I'm fucking talking about. This is just all made up. Generally, people who find offensive or take offense to things or have issues like this or
by the way,
sexual...
I hope you're not talking about me. I'm not offended by anything you're saying. I'm just trying to find out the thinking here on this.
I'm just saying some people who have issues with sexual hang-ups were sexual victims from predators themselves.
Okay.
That's generally the case. And most of the time, I don't mention that stuff. I don't bring that stuff. I'll talk about masturbation and other things about myself, but there's certain issues I don't bring up. But yeah, there was issues with that with me.
Okay, well, I believe you. I don't not believe you.
So,
but that doesn't...
There is I don't know.
That doesn't mean that. What am I trying to say here? Again, all the stuff that you're talking about, it's not real. I mean, that's interesting, but it's not really what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to figure out, to what degree is what you're bringing up? How much do you really care about it? Because, like I said, sometimes when I try to follow along your line of thinking and question you on it, then it turns into, well, it's not that important. I'm just doing it for the podcast. But then I'm thinking that doesn't really seem to jibe with it doesn't have the ring of truth to say, oh, I'm not really that bothered about it. I think you are. Maybe sometimes more than others. Sometimes it, depending on one's mood, somebody can be really irked by something, and then other times later on in the week, maybe they don't care that much about it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out how you think and how you sort of react to things. And when I see something that seems a little bit like, well, that doesn't make sense, or it seems to contradict such and such other thing, that's sort of where I jump in and go, well, no, wait a minute. You said this, but then what about this?
I don't know. I got to take a break for a second, if you don't mind, because I got to really get a piss.
Okay.
And I'll be back, and I'll put a little bit of a thing in there. Give me a minute.
Sure thing.
Folks, I'm going to break for 1 second with Matt. I really do got to take a piss, and I'll be back. And he turned off his, I'm doing the pee-pee dance. It's going to turn into the flood dance. All righty. Cutting off for this second. Walter! Yes, we are back. I really had to take a nasty long piss, so everybody needs to know this. I think it's very important. We're back with Matt Torrence, from music teacher guy who has been tearing me to shreds for the last...
I'm just investigating. I'm trying to find the way of thinking. And listen, anybody...
I don't know.
Anybody who is contradictory, it's not just you. Now, granted, I don't talk to that many people in the course of daily events, but anybody that I find inconsistency in their thought, I do get a little bit of the, the attack dog in me comes out, because I just...
Would you ever think of considering running for the Obama administration and, working underneath him? No.
Well, like I said before, most people are just waiting for him to go away. Anyway, look, let me say this. Like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. In a way, you're right. It doesn't matter because you're going to continue to do things, run your life the way you think you should, which is that what you should. That's what you should do, not the way I think you should. And I will continue to handle things the way I think is best. And you'll let me know how it works out for you, and I'll do the same. And I do realize that people have to make their own decisions about things. So if someone thinks that this is the right way to go about things, it could be, or even if they're 180 degrees wrong, it doesn't matter because they have to do it themselves. I remember one time I was in Temple, and the philosophy teacher that I had for the class we were taking, he was telling me about his sister and how his sister picked the wrong man time after time after time. Her life was a catastrophe because of always picking the wrong guy. And then he one day said to her, "Hey, why don't you let me pick a guy for you because you've done such a bad job?" And she didn't want that. So people want to do things their own way, even if it destroys their lives. And that's what they should do. People have free will, and most of them use it to wreck their lives.
Certainly, like me.
Well, I don't know about that, but I just think, what my thing is? My thing is you can only control yourself, what you react to. So when other people do stuff that's not cool, you can try, but I don't know that you have how much control you have over them, so it only almost sort of mostly just matters what you do. And, you try to learn from your mistakes, or if you see other people making mistakes, try to learn from their mistakes. And also, just like I said to you before, and this is what, your guy Les Brown once said, nobody wants to hear about what they did to me and how I'm a victim and all that stuff. So, I know you don't want to hear it because when you do your podcast, you complain about other people doing it. So what you got to be careful of is that you're not doing the same thing, because people tend to do exactly what they don't like in other people. Whatever other people are doing that they're complaining about, they usually wind up doing the same thing. And that would be the case, for me too. So trying to, I think, grow up a little bit is something we should all do. And, try to have a little bit more of a backbone where if somebody doesn't look at you the right way or does something you don't like, it really isn't a federal case, that you can go on from this. I mean, people have gone on from really traumatic things. I was watching some woman give a TED Talk about how she was married young and her career was off to a great start. She was not even like 26 years old yet or something like that, maybe even younger. And then I think her parents died early, and then her husband, who wasn't even very old, died of like a heart attack at like the age of 29 or something like that, and all this stuff happened. So, by comparison, somebody being a jerk to you at Wawa or at the laser hair helmet place or at work probably is not that big a deal. Okay, so why don't we wrap this up, because I'd rather run out for a while, maybe get something to eat or drink, and I'll drive. And
cool.
You tell me what you want to say here. Maybe if you really are itching to do reading some stuff from online, maybe you'll do another podcast tonight or save it for the tomorrow one.
I'll probably save it tomorrow. I was going to try to make this a little lighthearted. I didn't expect it to be, you got me.
Well, that's why I wasn't 100% planning on this either, but I had a bit of an inkling that I might do this, so at least...
Get under my skin, you mean?
Well, at least it's something different. Well, I feel the only... I don't enjoy, believe it or not, I don't enjoy conflict or confrontation, but one thing I do enjoy that I feel like I was very honest about...
Me.
Yes, well, calling... and listen, somebody could easily do the same thing to me, but I just wanted to try to get to the truth about...
you can't handle the truth.
about some of these things. Anyway, go ahead. You finish up here.
Well, I thank you for tearing me apart tonight. I really appreciate that.
Anytime.
Yeah.
It was my pleasure.
Yes. And you know what? I think Adolf Hitler hated putting those Jews in the oven, but hey, it had to be done. So, has nothing to do with what you said, I guess. Basically, you torment me is the same way that Hitler...
Oh, the same thing? Okay,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. This is just as bad.
I'm trying to be an asshole back, so that's all.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Matt. Anyway, what? Seriously, though.
Let's sign off so we can run out.
Actually, I just wanted to say one thing. No, I'm not drunk either. I don't drink. You know that. Yeah, I just wanted to say, can I make this a little lighter? This show was just way too deep tonight.
Okay, go ahead.
So, I mean, this is a God's honest truth. This is the way I talk when I'm on the show, just to let you know. I was going to start out with something like to say that, yeah, I've been cutting my hair shorter and shorter and shorter because just my hair seems to be. You have like a nice thick head of hair for the most part. You got more than I do.
Yeah, but you've seen what's up here. It's not so much in the back, but it's on top because when I noticed this was I was in my bathroom and I happened to like put my head down and the light shined through a certain part, and there's like the top part is like half of what it should be. But you were saying something about, well, my hair's falling out because of stress. Well, that definitely doesn't help, and it definitely causes that. But don't you think that the main reason we're losing our hair is because we're men who are in their like mid to later 40s?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I don't see scalp like I do me. I see scalp, so now I'm cutting shorter and shorter and shorter to the point now that I'm like basically going to do what most guys do when they start going bald.
Yeah, that's why you see
shave their head.
Yeah.
And I'm like at that point, which I never thought was going to happen because my brothers both of them have decent set of hair.
Do they?
Yeah. One less than the other, but the one has really thick hair. The other one has less. And me, I'm like less yet. I'm looking at your hair right now. You have the widow's peak, but at least you have a thick head of hair.
I don't know. Not like it was. I can feel it too. And you know, well, anyway, let's go.
Well, the thing was, I'm wondering is like in my mind, because this is the way I think. This is the way I talk on my podcast. I'm wondering like, okay, could it be from me masturbating too much? Because I masturbate so compulsively all the time. Like, could that cause me to like my hair to fall out? I don't know, but that's just my wacky way of thinking.
I think it's because you're a male who's in his mid.
I'm almost 50.
Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly it's a pattern. It's why they call it male pattern baldness. Stress. I don't know how stressed you are. Maybe you are. I can't read your mind, but that's definitely not going to help.
There's a girl at work actually. She's kind of cute, but she's from the Dominican Republic, and she put on a massive amount of weight. But she also at one point, from the stress of being out of her own country and living here, she looked like she was going bald. Like literally, it was big clumps of bald patches in her head. It was like, wow, it looked like she went through chemotherapy. But I know stress will do that. Stress will make her hair fall out. So
it can.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to turn my mic off. We'll do this again sometime. Not the same way. Don't worry. And,
good.
You sign off yourself. Go ahead. I'll see you. Bye-bye.
Well, before you sign off, I just want to give, since I tormented you back a little bit, that...
not really, but okay.
Okay, I'll try harder next time then. Everyone, that was Matt Torrence from Music Teacher Guy. I'm going to see if I can do this correctly. He might turn his mic back on. He actually does private music lessons at your home. He has other people that work with him. So if he's not in your area, he can always find somebody if you live within Montgomery County or the state of Pennsylvania for the most part. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. See, you turned your mic off too soon. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. You can find him on, just look for themusicteacherguy.com. You will find Matt Torrence there, or he will find you someone else who can give you lessons on piano. I can't remember the rest. Guitar. And he actually was trying to do Skype lessons, too. I think he actually had one client, but I don't know if it's... He was trying to go in that direction. So I just want to give you a heads up. I don't know his number off the top of my head. I don't think that's important. But if you go to the Music Teacher Guy under Google's, as my dad would say, you will find it. In fact, I will do it right now. And go back to what Walter does best. Not be able to spell. I just put in the Music Teacher Guide, and this is on my different computers. Hold on one sec. I had to put my mic down for a minute. And yes, he does come up. Mr. Torrence comes up. The Music Teacher Guy. And I'm having a hard time. Yes, the Music Teacher Guy. You shouldn't have any problem. And yes, he does say themusicteacherguy.com. Guitar lessons, piano lessons, and private music lessons in Montgomery County, PA, is what you have written on your page. So you can find contact information and also pay online if you'd like to. You will be able to find his phone number, or you can call him, I should say, at 610-804-6968. And I'll just ask for the music teacher guy. Also, you can email him. I'm picking my nose right now. It tastes pretty good. Matt at musicteacherguy.com or music.teacher.com. Guy. Let me redo that. music.teacher.guy@gmail.com. And you know, either way, you will be able to get a hold of him. I wanted to thank Matt for doing a show with me tonight. And as always, this is Walter from iWalter. And yes, I am signing off for now. Thanks again, folks, if you listen in.